Hello, this is a video on what to do for the EPQ. It's a guide on deadlines that you need to be aware of, how to be prepared, and how to make sure that you get the grade that you deserve for EPQ. So we've got 3 deadlines coming up. The first is essay day. This is where you're going to submit your 5,000 word essay on Google Classroom. If you're doing an artifact, depending on what it is, you're going to submit photo and video evidence on Google Classroom. And you're also going to accompany it with your 2,000 word supporting essay. If you come up with drafts before the deadline date, your supervisor can have a look at them in your EPQ lessons. We want to give you as much feedback as we can to make sure you get the grade that you deserve. Next, you have presentation day. This is where you're going to deliver a 15-minute presentation to an audience. 10 minutes is you explaining your EPQ, what you did, what you found out, what you would change if you were to do it again in the future. And then you have a 5-minute audience Q&A, and that usually involves a staff member as well, just asking you about your process and what you've learned. Some of you would have seen some from last year, so you'll know what makes a good presentation, what makes a bad presentation, but we're going to give you some guidance before that date just so that you're fully prepared. You will be handing in your PowerPoint and slides for presentation day on Google Classroom as well. And then finally we have deadline day. This is where you're going to hand in your EPQ folder and make sure that Project Q is completed on the Project Q website. The EPQ folder features 4 folders within it. AOs 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you can see next to each of these deadlines you can see an AO or assessment objective. Let's talk about all those AOs in a moment and what that involves. If you need anything, you could email myself or your supervisor and make sure that you get in touch. Do not struggle in silence. Talk to us and do something about anything that's wrong with your EPQ today. So your essay will be handed in on Google Classroom. That's where you're going to be submitting that, and that deadline will be attached with this video. Next, you have your presentation day. That's where you're going to hand in your PowerPoint. That's going to be on Google Classroom as well. And then finally, your EPQ folder will be handed in on Google Drive, and Project Q will be completed on the website. You do not need to export it, as we'll need to add some information to your Project Q document. So let's talk about your EPQ folder. It will look like this in Google Drive. You'll have it in one big folder, which will have your name and then EPQ folder, and you'll have 4 folders inside it that look like this. AO1 is where you're going to be doing all your planning, and you should have started some of that now. There's some documents in there which you have already done. That's going to be your planning folder, and that's worth 20% of your marks. Then you've got your resources, which is your research folder. That's 20% of the marks. Then you've got your develop and realize folder, which is your EPQ folder, where the 5,000 word essay lives. And then finally AO4, which is review, which is going to be your presentation video as well as evaluation documents, and that's 20% of the marks. Now, Project Q, essentially it's an application and guide for the examiner. So it's really important that you fill it in with as much detail as possible, because essentially it's like the narrator over all your work that you hand in. You're going to hand in these 4 folders, and Project Q guides the examiner on your entire process and how it all worked out.